In the mid-14th century, a deadly plague began its slow spread across continents, changing everything it touched. At first, it arrived quietly, carried along trade routes, hidden within ships and cities. Few understood what it was, and fewer still knew how to stop it. As morning fog settled over small villages, life appeared unchanged, but something had already begun. A lone man walked the road, unaware that the world around him was quietly unraveling. Inside their homes, families spoke in hushed tones, rumors of sickness spreading from distant lands. Fear moved from house to house, faster than any traveler. The village well, once filled with laughter and daily life, now stood still and uncertain. Fields were left unattended, as worry replaced routine. Even the simplest tasks began to feel heavy with unease. Meals were shared in silence, each glance filled with unspoken questions. The streets, once alive with movement, slowly began to empty. Shepherds kept their distance, unsure of what danger might linger unseen. Daily life continued, but only in fragments, fragile and uncertain. Even the children sensed the change, their laughter fading into quiet observation. The church became a place of refuge, where hope still tried to survive. Its towering stone walls stood firm, but could not hold back the unknown. Inside, prayers were offered with growing desperation. Voices echoed through the halls, searching for answers that never came. Silence followed each prayer, heavier than before. Faith, once unshaken, began to falter under the weight of loss. The bells rang more often now, their sound carrying sorrow across the land. With every toll, another life was remembered. Another family left behind in grief. And still, the disease continued to spread. Some chose to flee, believing distance might bring safety. They walked long roads with little more than hope. But wherever they went, the sickness followed. Soon, death was no longer distant, it stood among them. A constant presence that could not be escaped. The ground was opened again and again, as the dead were laid to rest. Graves spread quickly, beyond the edges of villages. Bodies were carried through the streets, wrapped and silent. Wooden carts creaked under the weight of loss. Moving slowly through roads once filled with life. The living watched in silence, powerless to change what was happening. Even the strongest grew weak, worn down by exhaustion and grief. Entire communities began to fade. Houses emptied, voices disappeared. What remained was a quiet, heavy stillness. Within the homes, the sick struggled to survive. Healers worked with herbs and limited knowledge, doing what they could. Families stayed close, even as fear grew between them. Every touch carried risk, yet they could not turn away. Breathing became slower, more difficult with each passing moment. Candlelight flickered against wooden walls, marking time in long, uncertain hours. No remedy brought certainty. No cure was found. Hope began to fade, little by little. Still, they endured, holding on as long as they could. But many would not survive. Town gates were closed in an attempt to contain the spread. Travelers were turned away, unwelcome and feared. Markets fell silent, trade came to a halt. Streets once filled with life stood empty. Work was abandoned, routines disappeared. The roads carried only the desperate, those searching for safety. Harbors grew quiet, ships left idle in still waters. The structure of society began to fracture. Order gave way to uncertainty. And the world, as it was known, began to change forever. By the time the plague had run its course, tens of millions were gone. Entire regions were left devastated. Economies collapsed, communities reshaped. The balance of society shifted in ways no one had imagined. And history itself took a new direction. Though centuries have passed since that time, the memory of the Black Death still remains. A reminder of how fragile life can be. And how quickly the world can be transformed. By something unseen and unstoppable.